Hey everybody, this is Time for Beard, and this is going to be March's State of the Shader video, where I go over what changes I've made to Icarus. And starting off the bat, I just want to say thank you to all my supporters on Patreon and YouTube. You guys keep me going on this, and I really appreciate it. And that said, let's get into the progress updates and bugs and all that. Okay, so the first thing for features and fixes is I got colored glass underground to actually show better now, so you can see through it, and there's just some tinting, and it just is a lot better, whereas it was showing up black. This also fixes water, which isn't perfect, but it's better than it was. You could see through it, and instead of it just being black. But there's a problem with the waterfalls, where the normals are messed up right now while the waterfall goes on. So you can see here, there's all kinds of weird kind of flashy reflections and stuff, but that's just not right. So I'll probably fix that in the next few days. But you can just turn the waterfalls off to just have straight lines of water, and that's fine right now. Okay, so for the rest of this progress video, I'm going to go through what was an earlier attempt at making this video. That was way too long, and just kind of talk about the things more quickly, kind of catch you up. Let's see, I think the first thing I did that I wanted to show was some of the differences in the underground lighting and the dynamic water. So let's get over here to where I go underground. So here we are in a dripstone cave, and this is without the dynamic fog physics. But you can see that even though there's still some noise, there's a lot less noise than there used to be, because I'm now capturing bounce light off of things, since I'm caching colored data off screen, colored blacklight data. Whereas before we were only getting direct blacklight, and then we were getting sun and skylight bounced off of things. So we get a more clear picture with some kind of global illumination type of stuff. Let's see, we're going to switch over here to the fog physics. And here it is with the high detail fog, with me not having fixed the rendering yet. So all the ghosting and invalidation of it and noise is stuff that would be fixed if you do the vote on the poll for me to fix the fog physics first. It does some cool stuff. Like you can see that there's a glow squid over there because the light of it is coming up into the fog. There's a lot of stuff like that I just really like, and I really want to push this forward. But I don't want to do it first if there's other priorities you guys have. So all the members on YouTube and Patreon, please vote in the polls for what I do next. Because there's like 4 different things I might focus on that are all like halfway done. But with this also, it's not just rendering the fog, it's also doing that local wetness, where things drip from like moving water, and moving water makes puddles under it. And there's all sort of little environmental factors. So we get moisture in the air and on the ground, not just based on the biome humidity that Minecraft supplies, but also based on the physics simulation. But again, the actual rendering of the fog is noisy. And this portion of the video is from before I fixed the translucency of water and glass underground. There is supposed to also be liquid dripping from dripstone and making puddles on the floor and drips down the walls. But it seems like I don't have the code doing it enough, because you don't really see it here. But we will see it in the lush caves, which I'm going to go to here in a second. Let's move forward. Poor little squid got stuck. Okay, so here we are getting into some lush caves, and in this scene I'm going to show the local wetness on the ground, and I think by default this fog and mist in the air should be a lot thinner than this probably. Let me know what you guys think about it. And I'm going to show let's see, let's go forward a little bit. Okay, so here we are in a bigger area of lush caves. And you'll see that there's wetness on the ground. We'll have all kinds of little puddles, and there'll be drips down the walls in certain spots, and little ripples in the pools where water is actually falling down into the puddles of water. And I just love this kind of immersive effect. I really want to push it. But I am going to make some changes to not just have this kind of high-def wispy fog, but to do mixes between this more standard-looking smoke or turbulence, and then just a really fine, solid mist. And I'm going to vary that based on turbulence factors that I'll calculate, which I also have code for, that when entities move through fog, it creates little swirling vertexes It doesn't show very well yet. And you might have seen there was a little drip down the wall there. I'm not going to rewind, but you'll see it in a few other spots. Let's go forward a little bit where we can see some more. Okay, so here's a bunch of little wet spots on the ground. And this is a very, very steamy room because it's got all the lush cave stuff, and it's got a waterfall active in it. So I'm going to... Here's a sauna. I'll fast forward in a second here. Yeah. I turn off the fog in a second here so we could see more of the lighting changes. So let's do that. And see all this wetness. There's water both moves from where there is wetness, so like puddles will make little bits of wet spot. And then you also get where it comes from the mist and everything and where it drips from the ceiling. And in these reflections, you can see that there is a lot more detail than there used to be. I'm still not doing textures in the reflections. I can do that very soon. But you'll see that you can see all of the surrounding stuff instead of seeing just the block lights themselves as it used to be. So when I do add in the textures on all this, and you can see the little ripples, these reflections will look a lot better, but I don't think that the diffuse lighting will look better. And the diffuse lighting was more of a focus for me up to this point. So here we'll see the difference. This is what it was doing before underground, where we had just these points, and that's why everything was so noisy. And then when we fill it in, again, here's the change. It gets rid of a lot of the noise in the picture and just gives us a much fuller feel on all of the lighting. And I love these little dynamic ripples. And you see the drip. If the fog was on, you'd see the fog coming here. Let's go forward some. Here's a little dude. That's our little friend. I'm going to spin. Let's see what else we got here. I'm going to just fly through caves for a second. And this is on the default settings, which have more noise than the higher settings. There's more stuff I'm going to do to resolve noise and make less of it. That would be, if you want that, you can vote for the lighting improvements. Let's see what we've got next. There's another little lush cave area. And this would benefit from the reflections having textures. You can see there's textures where stuff is on screen, but not where there isn't. And here, one of the things I talked about was that for the noise reduction, you can see how noisy all this grass is here, because it is using the lighting but without temporal accumulation. But there's an option in here to do the same lighting on it that I'm doing on the mobs, which is using the LPV, or like the flood fill kind of lighting. And that gets rid of the noise, but it caused flickering on leaves of trees outside, so I've got it defaulted off now. The noise you do see it here was me moving with this fog. The fog is the source of that noise. Another thing I also want to fix is where there's a break in the vertexes there from wind. There also shouldn't be wind underground, so I'm not sure why that's happening. And I want to make sure that all the wind uses the wind code that the 3D grass uses. So that's on the list of things. I have a big to-do list of bugs, which is why I'm trying to put what I do for... Okay, so here we are back here in this environment. I'm going to walk around for a minute just to see how the lighting has changed. There should be more ambient light and less darkness. If you guys liked the dramatic look, you can turn down that stuff to have just the point lights. But while I'm walking on here, I'll talk about one of the reasons I'm doing the poll for what's next is I've got a lot of bugs to deal with. My to-do list is very long for features, and it's also very long for bugs. One you see right here is where there's rendered heads that are like translucent. There's all kinds of other stuff. So I want to do a focus on catching up all of that stuff so there's not broken features, and I want to put the time I put towards new features into what you guys want. So you have some say in where this project go. Because if you're supporting me, I think that's fair. You know, like I want to bring forward my vision, but also what you guys want. Another note here is that since this is such a big environment and the lights and everything are very spread out, there's still more noise here than I encountered in the caves, like you could see on the wall here on the left. So I think I will be using this in the future as a test environment, because it requires either more of a voxel ray tracing distance, and it's going to require more stuff to fix, because you see there's still like a static that wasn't nearly as much in the caves anymore. Most caves. Let's look somewhere else. I hear some froggy boys. Let's look at the frogs for a minute. I want to find one of these in survival so I can get my butt kicked. Okay, so here I'm going to talk about the sand and snow and terrain physics for a minute. This is without them running. It's just flat. That's how things work. I have showcased what I was doing with the sand, and here it is on the snow, where it does a deformation. This is just vertex deformation right here. It doesn't show the best because it doesn't change the normals and the shading. So you may not really see it here, but I'm going to switch scenes and we'll see it with some like boxes and stuff, and maybe it'll show up. And right now it's doing it on like the layers too. I need to kind of adjust that to do better. And it's got some bugs, like stuff on edges kind of rises back up sometimes, where there's just things about the detection I need to do better. But here it is on the snow. You see they kind of crunch it down. And it's much easier to see on the sand what all it's doing. So I'm going to show the same code running on the sand. Even though I know you guys don't like how it looks on the sand. Just kind of talk through what I'm doing, and then you guys can give me more directed feedback maybe. But one of the things that you might kind of see here, you'll see on the sand, is it's not just doing the kind of stand-in swiped footstep pattern, which I'm going to do stuff from the shorts that I showed that has like really crisp footsteps later, but it's also doing a texture manipulation, which let's get into the sand to show that. Okay, so here we are. As you can see, the vertex displacement and the little brown spots that are emulating footsteps for now, until I get to that stuff later. And this is with the Patrick's pack, and I've got the height of the sand pumped up really tall. You may not be able to see much of the texture difference with this pack. It'll be really obvious with my pack, which I'll put on in a second. But you can see what it looks like here. And one of the other things I really like about having the dunes, even if I didn't crush stuff or kept them lower, is it just adds more variation to the textures. So that even though a pack like Patrick's and mine has CTM and has multiple variations of texture, still on a big scale like this, you're going to see repetition somewhat. And the dune height and kind of swirliness to it kind of breaks up that repetition. So let's get off of Patrick's pack here, and let's see if some guys running around while you're down low. Yeah, let's see what. So here we go, some more. So I love that feel of the dunes. It feels more organic. And I also got rid of variation on edges, so the edges of blocks are very easy to see and easy to jump up on. I think that's a good idea. So all this will be optional, whether you want vertex displacement, palm displacement, whatever. Okay, here's some of the other blocks that I'm doing this on. I'm currently testing this on. I'm testing this on moss and on gravel and a few other things. I don't want it to be as tall on moss like this. I'll do the very fine, like small displacement. Or here I'm going to show it with just the slider put down real low. Which these will all have separate sliders later. And different defaults. So here's the moss with just a very small amount of upness to it. And that's normally just a flat texture. And if I walk on it, you'll see it makes footsteps that go away in a second. And it kind of goes up and comes back down. So something like that I think is kind of cool for the moss. Someone gave me that idea for the moss. I might not have thought of it. So I just want to say thank you for that. And I hope that you like how that looks. If not, we'll we'll do some adjustments. But let's see what's next on the video here. Nice, so here's with my pack. Let's see what we're getting to. I think this has it set really low still. So let's look at it with the dunes pumped back up. You see there's still some repetition, but it's a lot less with the dune variation. So you see here that the you could see smaller little dunes where we've stepped, where kind of the sand is more disturbed versus the bigger dunes, and we've still got the vertex displacement, and we've got the little dark spots from the footstep patterns. And those are all techniques that will be options that can be used dynamically for stuff. But I think the default behavior of sand will not be this, since you guys all think it looks funny. Mostly is the feedback I've got. So let me know if you like it and don't like it. Like I said, the effects it's doing right now is the vertex displacement where it goes down. It's doing a change of the texture where we have the small little holes, and it's doing like a swipey pattern, which the swipey pattern would be replaced with the grains of sand that move around with actual footsteps. But this is what it is so far. Okay, so what's next? I guess I was looking at the 3D grass. I'm doing stuff on this to make it faster. I have not finished that yet. Here it is with just vanilla textures. What I'm trying to do is I'm compressing where I had multiple data buffers of voxelizing different things. But I started off with the 3D grass and then did all the lighting. And I'm kind of combining a lot of the data together to do less texture reads. And I got a good chunk of that done, but not enough to actually make it faster yet. So there is plans to do that. And this is another example of why I really need to make the vanilla grass stuff wave in the same way the 3D grass is. Or put an option to kind of hide it and maybe have it render just like a little seed pod or something. I don't know. I know it needs to be there so you know where to hit to get stuff. But I'm not sure exactly what I want to do with it yet. And here's us with that, just running around with the vanilla textures again in a forest. I don't think I have much to say about that. Here's an example of the water kind of seeping off to the side and other things. Let's see. This is when I found out that I had the grass broken for a minute, which has delayed me a day or two. The vanilla, again, I don't do much IPBR, so stuff like this, the grass where it looks too dark, is because I just didn't do IPBR for that yet. I usually think it's better for resource packs to handle PBR. It's really, in most cases, it's just going to be better than shaders doing it. But there are some things where I do overrides, and I might put in some subsurface scattering overrides for grass and stuff, I guess. Here's a segment where I view a few different texture packs and just kind of walk through this house and go through caves. I'm going to make that a separate video because this video is too long. So if you want to see what a few different texture packs look like, stay tuned and I'll edit that down and sometime in the next few days. I even do Conquest Reforged with different texture upscaling and generated normals and stuff. Here it is with, I think, generated normals and texture upscaling with or without a limit. I try it limited too, like just doubling it instead of infinite. Also, all of the textures I use are usually outdated versions. So if you have a texture pack that's PBR, especially with a CTM, because I love CTM, text me your stuff and I'll add it to a video if I do another one of those. They're kind of a pain in the butt to do because I got to keep hitting reload and coming back. But they're valuable and people ask for them, so that'll be a video. Okay, so I'm not sure if I talked about this yet, but this is from the Just Colored Lighting shader, which I'm working on in tandem with this. It right now has better automatic and animated light source detection than Icarus. I'm going to kind of go back and forth and make both of them have a better version. I'll probably make it better in Just Colored Lighting and then port it to Icarus. Then I also want to port it into Pegasus. One of the options here is PBR texture detection, where if you have PBR textures that are emissive, they will automatically be detected as colored light sources. It does a better job than Icarus does at that right now. Here it is with Enderman, giving them kind of a purple glow. and you can see on the creepers they have like a greenish glow. When that effect is on, it is way too strong right now, so I need to make a separate slider for that, where that can be adjusted separately. It also does things where you can have blocks like magma, which does not give off light in vanilla. It, as an emissive texture, gives off that colored light when that option is on. And this is in Icarus, but not working very well, so I'm going to finish it in just colored lighting, port it over, and make it work good. Because it's easier to debug in the just colored lighting shader, because in Icarus I'm also doing all the ray tracing, which catches that stuff too. Whereas here it's just doing like a flood fill type of thing. Let's see what's next. So I'm back in Icarus. I'm doing some changes to the default skies. I'll talk about that in a minute. This is about the water wetness first. When by default you just drop a bucket of water, it's just gone when it's gone. Like there it is, it's just gone. When you're running the smoke and mist physics, the water physics also can do wetness without having to show all the mist. Here it is inside of my testing menus. If we put that on. If we're not in Cloud Style 5, which is the one that renders the mist now, we can still see the wetness. So if we dump a bucket, I'm going to wait for myself to do it here. You'll see that it makes a bunch of wet spots under it, even when the water is removed, and it will slowly evaporate from being this one big puddle with like those nice little edges to just evaporating off and then having a dry spot. And the time is adjustable. Over here, I talk about some of the different ways that the mist and waterfall can render. The default is to do it as voxels. We're going to see me make a mess of water down the side here first. Just showing the stone be wet. Let's see. The default way that and I also did some improvements on the rain. This is ripples just falling from the waterfall, but then this is rain. This month I made the rain ripples show up on water again, and I made rain ripples no longer have any kind of a smear. They are instantly updated. They were at a little bit of a delay on them before because I needed to make some adjustments to the temporal accumulation. You can see the wetness on the edge of the ground where it's near the water, which is another part of the water and smoke physics, which if we visualize them, here it is showing them just as like voxels. And again, this is in the rendering that needs to be redone. Fast forward a little bit and get backed up a little bit. So you can see the movement really well, but it's very kind of blocky. And then I've put in the option this month also, which I've shown in some of the videos, to do a high detail mist. And then again, I want to add more textures and patterns to this and the way it moves. But the default one I've got in so far, and this runs like absolute crap right now, is to have those little kind of lofty bits. And I'm working on kind of, you can see there's still that kind of a step movement. I want to redo all of this stuff with this renderer. Some of it is really easy to do to fix, where these lines are and fix where the noise and stuff is. That'll be pretty easy. Hopefully, it's just a matter of time. So I kind of want to put time wherever you guys would like to see the focus first. So here's some more water on a sand, and you can see like mist where it's went over the edges and evaporated a little bit. There's a lot of cool stuff about this. I really, really like it. Just with that sense of immersion and like the world is alive. But as I note here, the FPS are horrible right now when running Cloud Style 5, which does the fog and everything, because it's both doing all the heavy clouds and the 3D mist, and then it's also doing the rain physics and ripples and everything, and the drips and drops everywhere. And here's some soot from this lava in here, made some soot from the smoke going up the side of that. And just that's a little type of thing I like, and I want to keep adding. Here's another spill of water, and again you can see where it makes these local wet spots It's one of my favorite things. Let's see what's next. Okay, so here we are in a very wet cave area. So again, here you can see like some little puddle areas. I'm just going to let him walk around a little bit. This is before I fixed the water rendering. This is what made me fix the water and glass rendering, because you can see here how it is not translucent. And you can see all the reflections of the ceiling and stuff off it, which again is untextured right now, but it all looked like crap, which made me be like, I need to fix this right now. This is just unacceptable. Again, we've got little areas that are more wet and less wet. We've got little puddles, and that's all dynamic based on where water is in the environment and where it moves around. And we'll get it dripping down walls and making little ripples and everything. Like, it's all dynamic. Let's see where I go here. We're just sitting here with really bad FPS because I've got too many things turned on. This is with doing the high detail log physics. You see right there, which again are very noisy right now. So vote for option 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever that is. I really like those, and I really want to get them done. But there's so much stuff to do and so many bugs. Let's see what's next. So here's again showing the reflections and how it's showing more data off screen now underground. So you get an actual idea of the environment and the reflection, which means that entities are properly lit and you can actually see them now. And I can get the textures on all the walls and everything pretty easy. Getting the textures on the entities is going to be really hard to do efficiently. So I don't know if that's going to happen right now. Whenever Iris 2.0 aperture actually gets out, if that actually gets hardware ray tracing, then it's as simple as me doing like literally just one line of code that's like ray trace like this direction, and it'll tell me the texture of that spot, and that would fix a lot of problems. Otherwise, hand voxelizing entities is really a lot of code, and it's probably really heavy and really slow, and probably wouldn't be worth it. So I'll do the textures for terrain, but entities, unless Iris does that, or I get a lot of other features caught up, there's not going to be high detailed mob reflections. Here was me just being happy about how PBR works with torches. You can see the glint off the diamonds from far away. So when you're caving, it's really easy to find shiny stuff without having kind of cheap, massive glowing. A lot of that noise looks really bad and quick stills. And this is me doing all the fog and stuff too. Here's me testing some more textures. Again, that'll be a separate video now because it just got way too long. Here's some improvements for Create Mod. Before, I was having the problem that it smeared here, like you could see when it moves. So what I did is I put in a special menu for different mods, for mod compatibility. And inside of Create, you can render block entities as entities. And what that does is it does the rendering that mobs have on moving machines like this, so that they have, the lighting isn't as good, but they will not smear or be noisy. It's just a nice, crisp, fast updating lighting. I think that's the end of that stuff for that. So for what else do I want to add in the future? I want to do one of these 4 things first, which is either finish up the terrain physics, the volumetric physics, more lighting stuff, or something else, whatever's in the poll. There's just a lot of bugs and little like half-finished things to do. So I really need you guys can help me focus on that, on what you'd like to see next, and I'll try to balance that with what else I'm doing. But it's going to be the physics for terrain, the physics for volumetrics. I want to finish up the glints. I want to get rid of more noise in the lighting. I would like to. It's just a big list. I'll get to it when I get to it. I've lost my focus right now. But that's this month's video of where the shader is. So this is the version that'll be on Patreon right now. And again, I just want to thank all my supporters. You guys keep me going on this. And like, this is your project too. So thank you for helping me bring this forward. I wouldn't be able to do it without you. Hope you all have a good month and a good week, and I'll talk to you all soon.